So this is a quick mitten tutorial based on using this mitten DXF, which I showed to you guys in training. I'm going to add this to the workspace. Okay, and I'm going to move this out of the way. This hand avatar, which I have linked you to, it does have arrangement points on it, but it is only for the back, the front, and around the wrist. The fingers, these arrangement points do not get any smaller than this right now, so we can't really make them go on here make them any smaller, so it goes around the fingers. I can tell you here that what we have is this here is our palm. Okay, this is the back here. Okay, and then this piece then goes on the side. Okay, it's a little kind of odd to visualize at this point, but I think you'll begin to see it come together here. So what I'm going to start with, I'm going to turn off these arrangement points here, and I'm going to start by folding this up a little bit. Okay, so there is our, as you can see, that our thumb starts to come together. Okay, now I do like to use a couple things here. I like to turn off the gravity here. That will help us with what we need to do. And again, I'm going to turn on strengthen for all of these things here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at my pattern in my 2D window. I've got an overlapping piece here. Okay. You can remove this by simply right-clicking on it and saying extend trim to pattern outline, and that will cut that off. Okay. The other thing I'm going to do right now as well is I'm going to make sure that this particle distance is much smaller. It doesn't have to be all the way down to 5. I'm going to make it 10 for now, just so that when we start to have these things come together, it'll work a little bit better. And what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to begin to free sew this together. Now I am going to, actually I'm going to cut this off here. So, or no, I'm going to leave that for now, because if I extend trim that's going to go all the way to the other side. I'm going to simply slide this over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by free sewing on this side of the mitten. So I'm going to start here and come all the way around and stop here. And I do that because that's a stopping point. And when I come over here, this gets me all the way around over here. It's not exactly where that fold is, but that's okay for now. Okay. I'm going to look at it here in the 2D window. I'm going to slide this over to the side a little bit, so when I simulate this, these pieces come together. Okay. I simulated and stopped it really quick. Okay. So then this part here goes in the middle, in between here. Okay, now I'm not going to place this. I am going to use my target here to kind of put this in the ballpark, and I will then simply rotate this so that this is closer. Okay. So this is going to cover my thumb. Okay, I'm going to start by again, I'm going to check my picking point here. Okay, so it's flipped backwards a little bit. I could rotate this if I wanted this to be going in the right direction so that these pieces are close to each other. Okay, so picking point there, picking point on that side, which means that when I select this one over here, there's that one. So I'm going to start by just sewing these pieces together. Okay, and simulating. So as you can see, this now is starting to come together. Okay, so this seam is going to get sewn up here and then down here so that it goes to the top of the thumb. So watch in the 3D window. I'm going to start here and up, and then over here to the center top. So if I go here to here, and then hold down this is free sewing, okay, and then hold down Shift, 1, and then when I come here and come over, this then sews that over the top like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the inside. And then it's a little tricky here because this is folded over. So I'm simply going to do it in the 3D window. I'm going to then, whoops, I'm going to go here, hold down Shift, oops. It's tricky because this is folded over. So I'm going to try, there we go. Double click and then hold down Shift and come down here. And then those pieces have come together. And then I'm going to simulate. Okay, so there is our basic construction for the mitten. Now obviously it is not knit, okay, but if we set this up so that, let me turn off my strengthen, okay, this will obviously change based on the type of fabric that you use. So if I use the library over here, fabric, and I say use, let me see, a Sherpa, okay, or a knit. Let me do a knit cotton jersey. If I change this to knit cotton jersey here, I can get rid of that one. Okay, depending upon how you want this to come out, knit terry, you'll decide. But there's a couple things that I will do. Under the knit cotton jersey here, as you can see, I've got my thick textured surface. If you choose the knit cotton jersey here, you can make this thicker, okay, as thick as you want. If you want it to look like a thick chunky sweater, you could do that, okay. And as you can see, things get a little bit, the drape of it gets a little bit better. I'm going to check my avatar skin offset. It's at 1. I'm going to make it 4 so that this will be better. It does wiggle against these fingers a little bit. That's not such a big deal, especially if you then go to a high resolution garment. I'm going to select these and change them to particle distance of 5. Additional thickness collision we're going to lower to 1. Simulate. There we go. It's a little bit better. This has to do with how the fingers are interacting with the fabric itself. So we could make this a little bit wider. Pull these off here so that they don't interact as much, and they will. There we go. And although this is not a knit fabric, we will be able to make it look as though it's a knit fabric depending upon the surface that we give it. So here is our mitten draped, finished. It still has strengthen on. I made the pattern a little bit wider. As you can see, the thumb is a little bit wider. I might make it just a hair skinnier, just to be sure. I don't want it to be too wide. And then I also checked, I went back and we used the skin offset to help our mittens stand away from the hand. I'm now going to go back and make sure that this is set on a lower number. I lowered it from 4 to 2. And then I'm going to do a couple things here. One of which is that I'm going to go to my toggle menu here, and under the garment I'm going to say I want to turn off seam lines. This will help us when we're trying to make this look like a knit, an actual knit. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold. I'm going to use these internal lines to fold these up. Now, when I fold these and simulate it, it comes together very nicely. As you can see here now, our fold angles are closer to being 360. I'm going to go back and reset these to be 180. This will give us a nice rounded bottom of our mitten here, as though you had actually rolled it over. Okay? Then what I've also done here is I have brought in a pre-made fabric, a two-sided knit. Okay, now this fabric, I say two-sided because the front has one texture on it using a texture, normal map, and displacement, and is blue, and on the back it is a different texture, normal map, displacement map, and a color green. So if I turn off my strengthen, I select my pieces here and I apply this fabric, then what we have is a nice knit fabric of our mitten that is two-sided. Okay, and now I could affect it in any number of ways. I could make this two-sided knit even thicker. If I wanted to then go here and make this say 4 millimeter, it will bulk up. I could also change in the property editor of the pattern pieces. I could add an additional thickness rendering here of 1 to give it even a bulkier look. And so there is our knit glove, our knit mitten, two-sided knit mitten. And if we go to the render window, I'm going to re-render this. I rendered it to check how our fabric looked. When I render this, then there is our nice two-sided knit fabric. This is poking through a little bit because of the thickness of the displacement map, so I'll probably make a change to that here, or get rid of my additional thickness rendering. But there is a basic knit mitten from a pattern.